What's good, WrestleScope family? Before we dive into this explosive situation, let me ask you something. How many times does someone have to be disrespected before they snap? Because what went down backstage at SmackDown isn't just a warning, it's a declaration of war. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another backstage confrontation? We've seen it all before. But stop right there. Because when a 330-pound wrecking ball named Bronson Reed corners you in the back and delivers a message that sends chills down your spine, that's not just another segment. That's a career-altering moment. And here's what's got me fired up, and what should have you absolutely furious. Carmelo Hayes has been running his mouth for weeks, playing the disrespect game, acting like he's untouchable. But when Reed stepped to him backstage, suddenly, all that confidence, all that swagger, gone. But here's the real question nobody's asking. Is WWE protecting Carmelo from the inevitable beatdown he's got coming? Or are they setting up the most brutal collision we've seen in years? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this debate is about to get heated. All right, let's rewind and set the stage properly, because this story has layers that most people are completely missing. Bronson Reed has been on an absolute rampage since his return to WWE. We're talking about a man who's tsunamied his way through legends, main eventers, and anyone foolish enough to step in his path. 6 tsunamis to Seth Rollins, multiple superstars hospitalized. This isn't character work. This is a man possessed with proving he's the most destructive force in WWE today. Meanwhile, Carmelo Hayes, look, I've got respect for Carmelo's talent. The man can go in that ring. His NXT championship reign was impressive. His matches are crisp, his promos are smooth, and he's got all the tools to be a future world champion. But here's where it gets interesting, and here's where I need you to pay attention. Carmelo's been carrying himself like he's already made it, like the main roster is just gonna bow down because he was a big fish in the NXT pond. And you know what? That attitude works until it doesn't. Until you disrespect the wrong person. Until you underestimate a monster who doesn't care about your resume, your potential, or your Hollywood smile. Over the past few weeks, Carmelo's been throwing subtle shots, laughing during Reed's promos, dismissive comments in interviews, that classic rookie mistake of thinking confidence equals invincibility. He's been poking the bear, but this isn't just any bear. This is a 330-pound grizzly with a taste for destruction. And SmackDown? That's where everything came to a head. All right, now let's talk about what actually went down backstage and why this is so much bigger than people realize. Picture this. Carmelo Hayes is walking through the gorilla position, probably hyped from his match or segment, feeling on top of the world. He's got his crew around him, he's feeling himself, talking that talk. And then the hallway goes quiet. Bronson Reed emerges from around the corner. No music, no entrance, just pure, intimidating presence. And you could see it, that split second where Carmelo's face changed, where reality set in, where he realized that social media beef and actual face-to-face confrontation are two completely different things. Reed didn't come there to play word games. He didn't come to cut a promo for the cameras. According to multiple reports from people backstage, Reed got right in Carmelo's face and delivered a message that was equal parts warning and promise. You think this is a game? You think I'm someone you can disrespect and walk away from? I've ended careers. I've put legends on the shelf. You're nothing but a speed bump, and I'm about to run you over. Now, here's what gets me heated about this situation, and I want you to comment below if you agree or disagree. Carmelo tried to maintain that cocky demeanor, but his body language told a different story. Sources say his crew had to step between them, and not because Carmelo was ready to throw down. They stepped in because they knew what would happen if Reed decided to make this physical right then and there. This is where it gets controversial, and this is where I need the real wrestling fans to sound off. Is Carmelo Hayes biting off more than he can chew? Is he playing a dangerous game with a man who's proven time and time again that he doesn't just win matches, he destroys opponents? But here's the twist nobody saw coming. After the confrontation, after security and officials separated them, Carmelo did something that's either genius or absolutely insane. He went straight to his social media and posted, "Some people mistake silence for fear. They'll learn the difference soon enough." Excuse me? Did this man really just double down after getting a face-to-face warning from Bronson Reed? Is this courage, stupidity, or is Carmelo Hayes playing 4D chess that we're not seeing? Here's my theory, and this is where it gets really interesting. What if Carmelo wants this fight? What if he's calculated that facing and potentially surviving an encounter with Bronson Reed is his fast track to main event status? Think about it. Who gets remembered? The guy who plays it safe, or the guy who stares down a monster and doesn't blink? Throughout wrestling history, we've seen careers made by standing up to seemingly unstoppable forces. Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon, Daniel Bryan versus The Authority. Could Carmelo Hayes versus Bronson Reed be the next legendary rivalry that elevates both men to the next level? But, and this is a big but, there's a difference between calculated risk and career-ending stupidity. Reed isn't a character you're supposed to overcome in 3 months of build. He's been booked as destructive for a reason. WWE is investing serious capital into making him look like an unstoppable force. So, what happens when an irresistible force meets an immovable object? Or, in this case, when an ambitious rising star meets a destructive monster who's hungry to prove he should be world champion? Here's what has me concerned, and I want your honest opinion in the comments. Is WWE setting Carmelo up for a massive victory that shoots him to the moon? Or are they feeding him to Reed to make the monster look even more unstoppable before a mega program with a top star? Let's talk about what this means for both men's futures, because this isn't just about one confrontation. This is about trajectory. For Bronson Reed, this could be the program that transitions him from dangerous mid-carder to legitimate main event threat. He's got the look, the intensity, and the in-ring ability. But WWE's been hesitant to pull the trigger on him at the highest level. A decisive, brutal victory over a rising star like Carmelo could be the final piece of the puzzle. It could be his ticket to facing Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, or whoever's holding gold. But if Carmelo somehow pulls off the upset, if he finds a way to outsmart, outmaneuver, and overcome this monster, we're talking about instant main event status. We're talking about a star-making performance that gets replayed for years. Think about when Jeff Hardy beat The Undertaker. Think about when 1-2-3 Kid beat Razor Ramon. Those weren't just wins. They were moments that defined careers. The problem is, WWE's booking has been so protective of Reed's mystique. Every loss, every moment of vulnerability has been carefully controlled. They haven't had him look weak once. So, does that mean Carmelo's being set up for a squash? Or is WWE confident enough in Reed's presence that they can let Carmelo look competitive, maybe even win, without damaging the monster? And here's the element that nobody's talking about. What if this isn't just about Reed versus Hayes? What if there are other players involved? What if Carmelo's and talking to people backstage, forming alliances, preparing for war? Because one-on-one, Reed's got this. But if Carmelo's smart enough to have backup plans, contingencies, strategies beyond just out-wrestle the big guy, then maybe, just maybe, he's got a shot. The wrestling community is divided on this, and that's what makes it so compelling. And that's why I need you to weigh in. Team Reed or Team Hayes? Comment below and let's get this debate rolling. Look, here's the bottom line. What happened backstage at SmackDown wasn't just another confrontation. It was a defining moment that's going to shape the trajectory of both men's careers for the next year, maybe longer. Bronson Reed sent a message that he's not someone to be trifled with. He's not a stepping stone. He's not a transitional opponent.
He's a destroyer who's hungry for gold and willing to go through anyone to get it. Carmelo Hayes responded with defiance, with confidence, with the kind of attitude that either makes legends or breaks careers. He's betting on himself, and in wrestling, that's both the bravest and most dangerous thing you can do. The question isn't if these two are going to collide, it's when, where, and who walks away still standing. Because something tells me that when these two finally lock up in that ring, we're going to witness something special, something brutal, something that gets talked about for years. One man's trying to solidify his legacy as WWE's most destructive force. The other's trying to make his legacy by slaying a giant. Only one can succeed. So here's what I need from you, the WrestleScope family.
Smash that like button if you think this is going to be an instant classic feud. Drop a comment telling me who you think wins when these two finally face off, Bronson Reed or Carmelo Hayes. And more importantly, tell me how you think it goes down. And if you're not already subscribed to WrestleScope, what are you waiting for? We're bringing you the hottest takes, the deepest analysis, and the most explosive debates in wrestling. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. This is just the beginning of what's going to be an absolutely insane storyline, and we're going to be covering every single development right here. Until next time, WrestleScope family, stay locked in, stay vocal, and remember, in WWE, anything can happen.